Hey, deserving listeners, it's time to watch 90 Day Fiancé. As I always say, never use these videos as a replacement for therapy. If you need therapy, get a therapist. You deserve it. Let's get to the show.
Yeah, during the day it looks not that scary. When is the end of the wood?
The end of the woods?
The end of the wood.
The woods never end here.
Yeah, it's true. In that part of the state, the woods never end. It's called the Evergreen State for a reason.
There's a small thing called a creek, and it's a water, and so you can go fishing in it. When it gets a little warmer, I can take you into the woods and I can show you what I'm talking about.
I mean, do I have to?
You don't have to catch a fish. I'm just asking, have you ever
No, I don't remember.
All right, so Mike is trying. He's throwing it out there of like, hey, I'll teach you how to fish in a creek. We can catch some rainbow trout. And she's like, do I have to? And okay, it's fine. He wants to maybe introduce her to fishing. She's like, not for me. Totally fine. Again, I wish that these couples would talk more about the pragmatic realities of living together in their circumstances. That they talk about like, okay, so day-to-day living, what's this going to look like when I move to not only Squim, but up the mountain from Squim? What am I going to be doing there? Like, it seems like they never have these conversations beforehand because maybe it's a deal breaker. Maybe for Natalie, living in the woods, which I wouldn't want to live either, by the way. Same with Natalie. I don't like French toast. I'm not a fan. And no, I do not want to live that far out in the wilderness. I need to be near the city. I need to be near things. Fine, you can have those preferences, but why are you waiting so long to have those conversations? And why is it such a tense conversation? Why isn't it just a conversation where you're just like, honey, thank you for offering to go fishing with me. I like that you're trying to throw things out there. And you know what? I'll give it a try. But honestly, you know what? I'm just not into outdoorsy stuff. And so, you know what? I'm going to have to figure out for myself how I'm going to entertain myself during this K-1 visa process. And feel free to throw stuff out at me, but I'm realizing that I'm going to have to figure this out because you can't be my dad. I have to take control of my own life. And I'll ask you for help. Like, hey, let's go into town and maybe there's something I can do there, or maybe there's some projects I can do around the house or something. Like, take control instead of how they talk about it, which is just so tense, where he's just really quiet and kind of throwing stuff out there. And she's like, ew, no, let's be realistic about this.
Oh, okay. We'll just go through town right now and I can show you a little bit of things here and there, okay?
Oh, I'm excited to see the town.
Well, it's perfect timing right now, son.
Don't get excited because you blink and it's gone. So I'm worried about, I'm pretty sure she's going to go into this town and she's going to be like, oh, I don't like it here.
It's out, looks nice,
I'm excited to see the town.
This is the co-op where my dad worked and ran for 25 years here.
Mm-hmm.
They got little antique shops and gift shops and stuff like this.
Yeah, and I will say, Squim is a cute little town, and it's in the middle of nowhere. And they have a casino that I've been to. And if you drive through town and blink, it's over. It's a very, very small town. It's very quaint. A lot of people love it out there. A lot of people in Seattle go out there to, in the surrounding areas to go camping. If you've seen Twilight movies, it takes place in Forks, it's pretty far from Squim, but it's in the same general region. And, it's played up to be rural and lots of trees and lots of overcast and very moist. And so it's beautiful country, but I'm guessing Natalie is going to hate it. And they're not going to have a way of talking about that. There's nothing wrong with Natalie hating it. There is something wrong with the two of them not being able to say, okay, what is our future going to look like? If I was Mike, I'd say like, okay, I'm getting you don't like much about this, which is fine. You can have your preferences. Let's talk about a plan moving forward. If we're going to get married and we're going to live here because I can't move, it's it's expensive to move. What are you going to do with yourself? What do you want to do with you? Let's explore that. Or is it a deal breaker for you, Natalie? Is this too much for you? Do you just want to go back home? That would devastate me, but I'd kind of understand it if that's how you felt. Just having an open, caring, honest conversation about it instead of the way they deal with it.
They got nice clothes and stuff,
I'm driving with Mike, and I see that this is small city. And I'm like, what's going on? Oh my God, there are no action, nothing to do.
Do you not have street view? You have been dating him for months. Do you not have street view? There is a thing called the internet, and you can, okay, I need to be nice. Don't be mean. Don't be sarcastic. I always say, don't be sarcastic. But don't you have street view?
Just more like hometown-y, small stuff,
There is a famous waterfall, and I read that this waterfall here somewhere.
Snoqualmie? Yeah.
I really want to
I've never
go.
Yeah, that was immediately what I thought. I was like, are you talking about Snoqualmie Falls? Because that's very far away from Squim. That's actually in my neck. That's actually where I grew up, was near Snoqualmie Falls. If you've ever seen Twin Peaks, the TV show, there is a iconic shot of a waterfall, and there's a lodge that's right on the edge of the cliff there. And I actually worked there. Actually, behind me on the shelf is one of my name tags when I was a busboy there when I was 19 years old. My older brother was a chef there, and me and Stacy actually go there sometimes for getaway trips and stuff. It's a nice lodge. So she's like, I heard of this famous waterfall. I want to go there. And he's like, are you talking about Snoqualmie? So, okay, they're having a conversation. That's fine. She's like, oh, I'd like to visit these falls. He's like, well, actually, it probably would be like a 3-hour car ride to actually get there. But okay, maybe one day we'll do a road trip out there. She's beginning to, take control. Let's see where this goes.
I've seen that one.
Yeah, we should check it out. Let's go see some beautiful nature.
It's very far, about a 2 to 3 hour drive. I think probably.
Now, there is very beautiful nature near Squim, in and around Squim. It's the Olympic National Forest and the whole peninsula there. It is a beautiful place, just as beautiful as the Snoqualmie Falls, if not more beautiful, because it's more remote and there's less people. The Snoqualmie Falls, there's a town there, so there's a lot of suburban homes there, and so Squim is beautiful. There's a lot of hiking, that you got like hot springs and various other things around there. So if it's nature that she wants, man, there is a lot of it. Now, I'm guessing that it's not the sort of nature that she wants, because the sort of nature that is around there, including Snoqualmie Falls, is basically the surrounding acres around her house.
It's just really short notice.
Please. Please, can we go next weekend?
Yeah, we can't go this coming weekend.
What does it mean this coming weekend? Today is Sunday.
Today's Sunday, so Friday, we can't go this coming Friday, this coming weekend. But next weekend, we can.
Okay. So there's apparently some kind of time constraint. He works during the week. There's something next weekend that he's doing. He can't do it. And they're talking about it. He's like, okay, in 2 weeks, we can go to the falls. That's fine. And she's upset about that. And again, as with all these couples, I'm always like, why are you not having conversations about the limitations of life? Okay? Because from his perspective, he's like, look, I'm going to wake up very early, and I'm guessing he commutes hours to his job, works for a long time, and then he commutes hours back, and he gets back very late. So he only has the weekends to spend time with her, I'm guessing. I don't know. That's quite a thing to think about. And to just lay it out and say, like, okay, here are the limitations of my life. I have to have this job to pay my bills, and so here are the things. And if we're going to do little day trips to go to things like Snoqualmie Falls and stuff, here are the available days, and here's why those days are available. And let's talk about that. What do we want to do as a team? Here are the different things we can do. I know the area well. I can throw stuff out there. Let's have fun with this. Let's figure out, what are you going to do during the day? What are the options for you to do during the day? What are the things you would like to do during the day? Just having upfront conversations about that, where they're both on the same team, instead of her doing what she does here and then him doing what he does and having all the tension that they have. It just seems like unfortunate that they can't just have a reality adult-like conversation about the limitations on their life. A lot of times the couples will have conversations like this when they're fighting about finances, that one of the people is saying, hey, I want to buy a lot of stuff, and the other person is saying, oh, I don't know about that, that's expensive, I don't like that. Instead of both of them sitting down and saying, look, here's the budget, here's how much money is coming in, here's how much money we have to pay for bills and stuff, here's the extra money we have, how do we want to spend that money?
5 days is fine. Michael, we have all days by myself. Please.
All right, look, listen. So I can't get Friday off. I would have to go to work and then drive all the way back to get you and then drive all the way back.
Okay, so he's trying to explain, look, limitation-wise, it's a 3-hour trip to the falls and a 3-hour trip back. If we want to spend a few hours there, that's an all-day thing, and I can't get that day off. So he's trying to explain that to her, and she seems upset about that.
Make sense?
Mike works really hard, and he doesn't have time. I understand it because he gets home when it's night, and he doesn't have time for it. But I wish I was a priority. I'm not.
All right, so there's nothing wrong with feeling like you're not a priority. There's nothing wrong with feeling frustrated, with feeling like, I don't even get to see you this whole time. And it kind of sounds that way. It sounds like he has to wait 2 weeks for them to have a day off where they can spend time together. He works a lot, and I think he has a long commute, this sort of thing. So yeah, that's a bummer for both of them, right? And they can both be on the same team around that. And maybe she can say that. Maybe she can say, so I understand that you work a lot, which she said. They always are more differentiated in the interviews, right? She could say something like, so, you know what? I'm now realizing what our life is going to be like here, at least for the time being. You work a lot. I'm going to be stuck at home. I can't work. I don't know anyone. I don't know this town. I can't drive. I always wonder that too as well. Can they not get a license? Because if they can't get a license, my goodness, like they are just completely trapped, right? So if that's true, then she is just completely trapped in this home that she doesn't really like, that is very far away from a small town. And so there'd be nothing wrong with her saying, oh my God, I am now realizing what my life is going to be like. And I am overwhelmed. And frankly, I feel like, generally speaking, you're not really making me a priority. I feel like you didn't ask me what my food requirements were. You didn't prepare like anything for me to do. I just feel like I'm just this appendage on your life. Like I'm just an afterthought. And I'm left to my own devices, and I'm overwhelmed, and I'm moving to another country, and I don't know what's going on, and I'm very upset. And okay, I would totally understand that, and then they could talk about it. But they're really suppressing all their emotions. You know, they just seem they seem to have 2 modes together. They're either, 3 modes. So they're either nice to each other and loving. We saw that last season. At the beginning of the time when he went to where she lives. They have a mode where they fight very, very intensely, and she is very, very emotional and hurt, and he is very, very reactive to that. And then they have a third mode, which they seem to have entered this long-term phase of just really tight, restrictive communication, where they're having lots of emotions and anxiety and hurts and worry and distrust of the other person. And they're just like throwing out these little bits of information to the other person. They're both kind of doing that to each other. And it's just going down a very distant road. You know, they're going down a road where they're being very distant with each other.
Are you okay?
Michael, why you do this to me?
Babe, we can't go in 4 days, love.
What will I do for days here? I will clean all house in 1 day. I will explore all city in 1 day.
All right, good. Finally, they're talking about it. I don't know about the tone of this conversation, but great, they're talking about it. I was even thinking this. I was thinking, you know what? How about you just have a fight about it? And then maybe after you have the fight, you get out all your emotions. Some couples work this way. And then you can enter a zone where you talk constructively like 2 adults who are both in control of their lives about how the 2 of you are going to proceed forward. So maybe they need this phase. Let's see what happens. I have high hopes, but who knows?
I will unpack in 2 hours. What after I will do?
I'm sorry.
So it was great that Mike said, hey, what's going on? How you feeling? And she expressed her frustration that I think is normal. She was yelling at him, which I don't think is fair. I think it would be fair for her to say, I'm overwhelmed. I don't know what's happening. Can you please help me figure out how I'm going to entertain myself during this time? Let's write a list of all the possible things that I could do with my time because I feel like there's nothing to do. Or maybe a more direct thing would be for her to say, because I'm guessing this is what's really happening, is, do you love me? Because I'm feeling a lot of distance right now, and I just feel like you don't really care, like you're not being really welcoming to me. But I don't know, maybe it's just the way that I'm interpreting things, but I guess I just need to check in. Do you love me? Do you like me? Do you want to spend the rest of your life with me? Because I'm getting a vibe like you don't really care. I'm guessing that's what's happening for her, and it's manifesting in this other conversation.
But this is a big shopping center here. There's some nice restaurants and stuff over there.
But instead, they're just returning to that restrictive, angry, resistant, distant place.
I go get my hair cut over here. It's nice to get out here and walk around. We'll check it out. Natalie got this little on and off switch. She goes quiet quite often, and it's sometimes really tough to figure out. So, I mean, I just take it as she's processing something.
So quiet usually comes in two forms, sometimes at the same time. One form is where you really are confused and overwhelmed and you don't know what to say, and so you just think, it's just better if I say nothing. The other form, which sometimes overlaps with the first form, but sometimes is independent of it, is I'm angry and I'm hurt, and screw that person, and I'm going to show them that they were wrong by being silent. We call this a silent treatment, right? I'm going to punish him with my silence and my distance and my very quiet, judgmental disapproval of him, and I want him to be in pain. So sometimes those two things go hand in hand, where part of you is like, if I say anything, it's going to be horrible, so I better say nothing. And I really want them to understand how angry and upset and hurt I am, and the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to be quiet, and I'm going to be punishingly quiet and in a bad mood with them. And the hope is that the other person will go, oh, I'm really receiving a lot of quiet from you, a lot of distance from you. I'm getting the silent treatment. I'm guessing you were very hurt by me. And you know what? I'm sorry that I hurt you. And then, you proceed to repair. That almost never happens. When you give the silent treatment to someone, it just hurts them. It just feels bad to them, or they're like confused. You're hoping through the silent treatment that the other person will read your mind. And that's not an effective way of communicating. It's a way of communicating when you don't have trust. And it's a way, and when you don't have trust because of all those past relationships that showed you couldn't trust people, then you resort to things like silent treatment because you don't trust other people with direct communication.
What's wrong?
As I've been saying from the beginning, two things. One, nothing wrong with her feeling overwhelmed and saying, I don't like it here, and this is terrifying to me. I'm stuck in a place that I don't like. I liked it in Seattle, or I liked it back in my hometown. I don't like it here in the rural America. This is terrible. The closest town is this really small, dumb town that I don't like. I'm overwhelmed. Totally okay. That would be expected. And I feel very distant from you. I feel like you didn't do enough preparation for me to come here. I feel like you didn't lay out the red carpet, and I feel like you just expect me to just integrate myself into your life. Like you're not asking me, you didn't set anything up for me, and I feel like I have to figure everything out. I don't even know where anything is. And I'm really hurt by that. Okay, those two feelings would be totally expected and totally normal and totally okay. How do you communicate it? Let's watch.
Gotta use your words here. What's wrong?
I need time for myself.
Okay, so Mike is like, got to use your words. And I thought, great, invitation. He's open. He's not angry. He's being welcoming. He's like, hey, I'm curious. How you feeling? Let's talk about it. And then she says, I need some time alone. And now she's just wandering off in the middle of Squim. Where? Where is she going? And now for him, he has to say, okay, I guess now I just stand here and wait, maybe in the car or something. If it's true that she needs time to think and she's not being passive aggressive right now, meaning that she's not passively trying to be hostile towards him by moving away. People will do that with silent treatments like this. They're hurt and they transform that hurt into anger, and then they transform that anger into hostility, and they choose to express that hostility through rejection and say, screw you, I need time to think. And that is a hidden way of expressing your aggression, which is what we call passive aggression. Anyway, who knows? Or maybe this is a good move for her. Maybe she needs to recharge her battery. She needs to gather her thoughts and her feelings. She'll return, and then she'll express her feelings in a way that is functional. Let's watch. So I'm guessing Mike is intuiting that she wants him to follow her. There's a chance that she does not want him to follow her, and she's going to turn around and say, don't follow me. I told you I needed some time alone. Let's see which one it was.
You doing okay? Why are you crying?
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know? What are you feeling?
I don't know.
What are you thinking about, baby?
I don't know what to talk about.
So Mike is doing everything right. He went over to her. He's being nice. He's being open. He's asking, tell me how you're feeling. He's hugging her. Great move there. He has a good tone of voice. He's not being accusatory or mean. She is seemingly overwhelmed, which is understandable. She is going with it. She's not pushing him away. She is not attacking him. She's not criticizing him. Maybe this is the beginning of their ability to understand each other. Let's also wonder about what relational traumas Natalie might have been through, total speculation, that would cause her in this moment to be so afraid to, one, acknowledge her feelings and to express her feelings. Like I said, it would be totally normal if she would say, I am overwhelmed and I hate this town and I hate that house and I never want to live here. But that's just how I'm feeling right now, and I don't know if that's rational, but that's how I'm feeling right now. And I don't want to insult your house and I don't want to insult your town, but I'm overwhelmed with how different this town is and how different this house is. And I'm having a lot of frustrating feelings about the prospect of living here the rest of my life. Okay, that would be totally normal. And I think Mike would be there to hear that. And maybe Mike is even open to saying, hey, maybe in a couple years, we can absolutely think about moving somewhere else. We'll figure things out. You can get a job by that point. We can pool our resources. Maybe there's a solution there. I don't know. It'd be totally okay if she said that. It would also be totally okay if she had a lot of emotions around feeling distant. Now, it'd be hard to feel distant as he's being nice like this and being physically affectionate. But, up until this point, she might have felt that way. And for her not to be able to express that, for her not to be even able to hint at it, really points to the possibility, total speculation, that when she did express normal feelings to other people and was vulnerable in that way, that something bad happened repeatedly to her that taught her to never, ever open up, to never, ever be vulnerable. Now, we've seen her cross a certain threshold, and then she becomes very vulnerable, which can happen to people. They'll resist being vulnerable for a long time, and then the dam will break, and then all the emotions come out, which is fine, but not the optimal situation. As emotions come out, you want to express them because then they're in little chunks that you can deal with instead of an overwhelming flood.
You gotta talk to me. It's called communication. You can't talk to me. What's the point?
Talk about what?
Talk about anything, life. What is going through your head? You're crying right now. What are you thinking?
I'm frustrated because it's totally different from my life.
As always, when they're being interviewed away from the situation, they're differentiated and they can say very rational things. Okay, I'm frustrated because it's very different from where I grew up. Great. Say it now, in the moment. Mike is being tortured by your silence.
I think Michael doesn't understand what I'm going through.
I wonder why.
He's trying to tell me that it's gonna be okay and everything's gonna be fine. But I don't feel like it's gonna be fine. Mm-mm.
So maybe we're going to have to wait until next week to see if she actually communicates to him what are, I'm guessing, some very normal and rational feelings. And I'm guessing Mike is going to be cool with it. As long as you're not accusatory, as long as you don't say it's all your fault, as long as you just say, hey, this is how I feel right now. Let's talk about the future. Or could you just do you understand? Can you please validate me? That kind of thing. Anyway, so we'll see. I'm guessing they're not going to check back in with them until next time. But anyway. Hey, there's the Snoqualmie Falls. I'm guessing they're going to go there next episode. All right, well, that does it for that episode in which I react to 90 Day Fiancé. Let me know what you think in the comments. And everyone out there, please take care of yourself because you deserve it. You really, really do.